I'll be demoing today data management professionals, data management as a platform solution, which is based on Commvault latest version. For this, we use the Command Center, and this is what I mainly will be using for the demo today. So most of you most likely are using the Java console, with something that Commvault developed since a very, very long time. But what we see is that the Command Center becomes more and more popular. And what I will try to show you today is that the Command Center is actually a very intuitive tool to manage all your data. So one of the typical options that we will do, or what you can do implementing the Command Center, is implement a single sign-on capability, which means you can link Command Center through your Active Directory or Azure Active Directory, allowing for single sign-on. And depending on the role associated to the account, you have certain permissions throughout the platform. So I'll be logging in right now. I have a couple of accounts set up here. So I have John Doe, which is a tenant administrator with all the capabilities to maintain the data management platform. I also have Max, and Max is considered to be an end user, since also end users have the ability to use this platform and see what data is protected and abilities to do restores. I will demonstrate this at a later stage. So let's go to John Doe. I hope my cookie didn't die off. Yeah, it did, as I expected already. So let me try that again. I have too many Azure accounts set up. So there we go, and now we should be fine here. So logging in as John Doe, single sign-on through Microsoft, and depending on the role, you have certain capabilities. And as you can see here, you will get an overview of basically what the platform looks like, how many systems you are protecting, how many VMs, if there's any edge devices, laptops. You will see the numbers protected here. The SLA is typically something that is based on your company policy, defining how many data protection jobs you would like to run daily, how many copies of the data is stored, perhaps locally, perhaps in the BMP cloud or in public clouds, and how long that data should be kept available for restore. And the SLA will obviously mention or show if you meet your own company policy. Yeah. So a nice intuitive dashboard, not too much information exactly what you're looking for. Now here at the left, we have the navigation menu with protect and the various data protection agents that you can implement. And I will demo a couple of them today. And one of them is the virtualization data protection option here, where I have a couple of hypervisors implemented, Amazon, Microsoft Azure, and BMP Cloud, which is based on VMware. These different hypervisors have VMs protected. So here at the virtual machine tab, you can see which VMs are protected. Yeah, if I would like to restore data, simply click on the VM. This is what I did now for an Azure VM here. It will give me an overview of how many data protection jobs are available. And as you can see here in the recovery point section, if I browse to the 23rd, you can see I have 2 recovery options available. Or if I move to today, I ran a data protection job this morning. So based on my requirements, I select a recovery point I'm looking for, click on restore. I'm sure you are aware of all these options here. This is an Azure VM running in Azure. I can browse the guest files. This will take a little while. It will now build the index of the VM that was protected, and this will then allow me to browse all the contents. Soon we will see an overview of the volumes that are available for viewing. I expect to see a volume and a C drive, since this is a Windows VM, and I can browse through all the contents. So let's give it a little bit. It will show up. It's all running on the demo system, so it's not that fast, but we should be fine in a few seconds here. So now I get the overview of all the content available for browsing. You can browse through the C drive, for example, users. Let's pick myself. And I prepared a document in the documents folder here, which is named, this is a test document. Now, the cool thing about the Command Center capability here is that I do not only have the option to restore data back to this VM or to any other location, but I can also decide to download this document. So this will, and I did this before, so it's in cache. So what it does, it in the background will prepare a restore, and then it will deliver the text file to my machine here locally. And I can open it, and there's my document. So a very nice and intuitive option to restore your data through the Command Center. And you can see it's a very modern look and feel. Now, the other very nice capability, I believe, here, for example, is the ability to restore full virtual machines, but to other hypervisors. So this is an Azure VM, and obviously I can do a in-place restore here, but also the out-of-place restore option allows me to select the different hypervisors that are compatible for restore here. So I could decide to restore this Azure VM to VMware. I can select the DMP cloud that I would like the restore the data to, and then here I get all the VMware specific settings. So for example, the destination host that I would like to restore this data to. So let's pick one of the hypervisors that I have set up in this cluster. I can select the OS type. I believe it's 2016, and a specific setting here for the VM resource pools, network settings, IP addresses. You can do quite a few VMware related and restore related settings here. Or I could decide to restore this Azure VM to Amazon. And here I now have all the Amazon related settings like the availability zone where I can restore to. So most likely you will pick EU Central for Europe and do your restores there. So a very neat and nice way of cross hypervisor restores. Now, how would it be if you can, how nice would it be if you can automate this procedure? So the capabilities are here. Simply go to disaster recovery, and before you can set up disaster recovery, or in other words, replication, you need to set up recovery targets. Already have a Amazon recovery target set up and a Microsoft Azure recovery target. So let's add another one here, and it's going to be VMware, and it's going to be a replication type. So let's name this DMP Clouds DR location. I select the specific hypervisor, so which machine should be responsible for doing this restore. VM display name. I would like to add a prefix or a suffix. since I'm going to be protecting VMs from one location and automatically restore and start at a destination location. And if this would be for DR testing, you would like to add this suffix so you know, hey, this VM that I'm replicating this way is a disaster recovery VM. Let's browse for the destination host here. It will give me a list of all ESX servers available to me to restore as a destination. So let's wait for the list to build up. So this is a query that runs live every time you request for this information, since there could be additional hosts added every time. I'm really happy that this is a live demo and everything goes as fast as you do at the dry run. So let's select the host that I want to select for my restore. Now I can select the VM folder and let's go here, and here's me, select the demo 05. I can select the demo 05 network, and then I have the test over options. So what I can do is I can test basically every hour a test failover of this VM from my production environment to my DR environment. So this is pretty cool. I can select a dedicated media agent. I don't have to. It can pick up one from itself. And here at the virtual lab, I can then decide which isolated network I would like to use, or if I would like to use an existing network, in my case, my demo 05, I can set this up and it will now have a recovery target to the DMP cloud set up. Now here at replication, I can set up my replication groups. Already have a replication group set up from the DMP cloud to Azure. So I can now add another one. Let's go, virtualization, name, DMP cloud DR. Make sure this is spelled nicely. Select my hypervisor, so I'm going to replicate from a VMware NLD3, and it will browse, again, a browser list of all the VMs available to me. So let's give it a little while to build up. Browse through this demo 05. Now I can pick up my VM that I would like to replicate. Click next. My recovery target could be Azure. And I would like to run this recovery job every 4 hours. Then the advanced options here, obviously I would like to override if the VM already exists. And I can decide to deploy the VM only during failover. We don't want this option set. And I can click next. Now I have to select the storage I would like to use. I'll be using our DMP Cloud Storage Grid here. And if my plan has one or more copies, I can also decide to restore or use a secondary copy for the replication mechanism, which I don't need today. So click next and click next again. And now we have to fix a few errors. And this is because my destination VM is going to be to Azure, and Azure does not support any fancy names in their VM names, as you can see here. So I'll have to rename this Windows 2019 DRVM2 resource group in Azure, my resource group, my region. Obviously, you can select any region. So if I would like to replicate to somewhere else in the world, you can decide this. Here, storage accounts needs to be set up, and I was expecting a list of VM sizes available to me in Azure. So let's restore as a managed VM. Since this is Windows 2019, the VM version, it has Azure VM version 2, so you can only restore as a managed VM. And I don't know why this list is not populating right now. It did in the past. So I need to select somewhere else. Yeah, that's what I need to do. Europe West Europe. There we go. And you can see here's a list of VMs. Now, make sure that you select the correct VM type here. Since if you restore a very large one, you can end up quite expensive Azure costs. For now, I just select something. This looks like a very nice machine to restore to. This is my network security group, which I've set up. And when I hit save, this is now the way this can be set up. I'm not going to do next because it will start replicating right away. Which I don't want since it will eat all my bandwidth. And you've seen what VM I've selected, and that can become a quite expensive option. Yeah? But if I go back to replication here, I already have a similar VM replication set up earlier. So that's already replicating my VM every day, once a day, from my on-prem VMware hypervisor to Azure in this example. And as you can see, it's in sync. And here at the replication monitor, I get a similar overview of what this VM looks like. Yeah? And if we go to Azure at virtual machines, you will see that my 2019 DR VM is replicated here. It's stopped and deallocated. And if we go to the activities, more events in the activity log, and let's make this, because I did this yesterday evening, 24 hours, you can see here that it created the VM, it validated the deployment, etc., etc. So this is a really nice, intuitive way of setting up your DR through the command center. And as you can see, it's just a few clicks. There's no complex technical requirements on your end to set this up. It's really a matter of minutes to get this all up and running. So that's for the virtualization. Another popular application these days is Office 365 or Microsoft 365. And as you know, I have a demo Teams set up here in one of the VMs. I created a couple of channels. I did some chatting. Already shared, let me see, I believe it was at the A team at files, shared a couple of files. So Teams really is a overview application that stores all the underlying data in either Exchange Online, OneDrive, or SharePoint. So every team that you create or group that you create is basically under the hoods a Microsoft SharePoint site. So if I share files throughout the Teams application with my team, these files are stored in SharePoint. However, if I chat with a colleague directly and share a file, this data is stored in OneDrive. And similar for the chat data, depending on what level you are chatting with colleagues, data is either stored in Exchange Online groups mailboxes or in your personal mailbox. So if you're looking for data to restore for Microsoft 365, you need to ensure that Exchange Online, OneDrive for Business, and SharePoint are the 3 apps that you have implemented. So go to Applications, Office 365. Here at the right upper corner, you click Add Office 365, and you can easily add throughout your command center your Exchange Online apps. So give it any name you like, select the server plan. So this could be anything that you have set up upfront. Select the index server and any access nodes that are required to protect this data. And here I can now start to configure my Exchange Online app. So this is based on the global administrator, and the global administrator, your tenant administrator in Microsoft 365, allows you to create this Azure app. And when you complete these steps, you can also easily enable modern authentication to ensure better performance for your data protection jobs. So let's go to Exchange Online and see what it looks like throughout Command Center. I have 2 tenants set up, a Spanish and a Dutch tenant. And in the Dutch tenant, there's a couple of users. There's a couple of teams. So these will represent the teams that you've set up will be presented here as groups mailboxes. Simply, if you're looking for data to restore, I can go to one of these individual users and say, hey, restore mailbox or restore messages. And this is a right mouse click. So the Command Center HTML interface is in this way set up pretty modern, and you can use it as if it would be a native application. So I'm looking at data I would like to restore for this particular user. I'm not going to go into one of these users individually. I'll select everything, click on Restore Messages, and the Command Center will then quickly give me an overview of all data that's protected from day 1 until the last data protection job that ran. So here at the user mailboxes section, I get to see all the teams mailboxes, groups mailboxes, shared mailboxes, anything that you set up. And instead of browsing, which I still can do through each of these mailboxes, I'll simply use this free text search field at the right upper corner, and I can narrow down on from, to, or subject, like the metadata that's available for searches, or I can simply search throughout this data by using it as a free text search. So in this example here, you get to see all the emails that are found. Here at the left, I can see all the senders. The custodians are all the users' mailboxes that happen to have email with the word KLM somewhere in the email, in the metadata. And here's the individual mail folders. So let's select all the data here. And I can click Restore all items or all items in this page. I can restore to Exchange Online or to a file location. And if I would like to restore to a different location, it's really nice to have the capability to restore data from one user to another user. Now, as you can see here, I get to see a list of all the mailboxes in my Exchange Online tenant that is currently selected. However, there's also the capability to select a second Microsoft 365 tenant. And if I hit Browse Now, so I'm able to restore data from one Microsoft tenant to the other tenant, which is quite a useful and neat feature. Similarly to the download option for the files in the VMs, I also have the capability to select data, individual files, or a lot of files, as I've just selected, and set them up as exports. And an export gives me the option to download data. So I've now selected, let's select the ones that I have on this page, import and restore. And instead of restoring this data directly into the Exchange Online tenant, what I'm doing right now is under the hood, I start this restore. It will create a PST or cabinet file depending on the option that you've selected. Now here at the right upper corner, let me click this away, I get a view exports option. So any data set that I've prepared before, and as you can see there's quite a lot, are kept in this exports overview, and the important resource is the one that I've just selected, and this will give me the capability to now restore this data, or I'm sorry, to download this data from the command center directly to my machine. And this is a PST file. If I would download the cabinet file, yeah, I get the file here, and I can double click. Oh, I don't have Outlook on this machine, but here's the message file, and I can start using this email. So very nice options that are available in the command center, which are not in the Java console. As far as GDPR is concerned, you also have the capability to delete data from your backup. So be careful. This is a role that you need to associate with a user. So make sure not everyone has this capability available, but I can easily now easily delete this data from my backups. Now, similar capabilities are available for OneDrive. So again, all the different users that are protected are shown here. Right mouse button, restore user. This is John Doe, and it will give me an overview of all the data that's available in this specific OneDrive. And it simply select the data that you're looking for, and you can restore in place or to any other location. If this user is using OneNote, then the data file in OneDrive, the OneNote data file in OneDrive is detected and indexed. And this will allow you to select the notes and restore these notes back to the location you're looking for. So now I have all this data in my platform, protecting VMs, protecting file servers. So I can now give insights to this data. And this is referred to in Command Center as Activate. So in Activate, I have an entity manager, and the entity manager will basically allow me to decide what sensitive data in my protected or online data set is important to me. So if I'm interested in, for example, credit card numbers, I can enable this specific entity, and it will list me all documents in my data set that have credit card numbers or bank account numbers or social security numbers like a German Steuer ID or a Bürgerservice number. So all the system has quite a few built-in entities here, but I also have the capability to easily add my own entity. So I'll add entity. Maybe you're looking for a Dutch IBAN number. So here I would have to enter my regular expression that detects the IBAN numbers. I can derive this entity from an already existing one, and I can now add additional keywords like bankrekening number in Dutch, or any other keyword that you would like to search for. Simply save it, and by saving it, you can enable and disable this data set. So what I've done is I've enabled all these entities, and I've created a sensitive data governance project. And there's two projects here, and in the sensitive data insights here, the first one, and let me go into details, I have enabled two data sources for scanning. So I have a OneDrive for Business that is already completed with scanning, and I have Exchange Online Netherlands that's completed for scanning. So these are all the documents that are scanned based on the entities that are set up. So let me go to the Sensitive Data Insights project dashboard, which you can see here. And there's two data sources, Exchange Online and OneDrive. And now, based on the entities that I have enabled, I get to see a list of, in this example, top 10 entities. So date, if you're interested in date, is here at the top. But for example, German Steuer ID, I just clicked on it and it will load the interactive dashboard. So here at the German Steuer ID, I can see there's 5 documents that have a German social security number, and which is classified as a high sensitive document. Yeah? So these will give me easily insights in where all these sensitive documents are throughout my data sets in my organization. Yeah? So I've now selected these two. I can dive into more detail here. And there happens to be a document in OneDrive Business Netherlands and 7 documents in Exchange Online Netherlands. So let's go into the OneDrive one for this single document here. When I click on OneDrive, I now get to see the OneDrive specific dashboard. So it's not just the data that's in Exchange Online, but just the OneDrive dashboard. Just give it a little while to load. Or maybe a little bit longer. I can go back and try again, but when you do that, most of the time it will even take longer. But let's give it a try. Yeah, there it is. So here's the OneDrive for Business. We were looking for the German Steuer ID just a minute ago. So we can see there's one document here that has a hit, 241 emails. And when you browse through this dashboard, this is OneDrive is file-based. You will get to see all file-based related information like modified time and creation time and the sensitivity score. Now, the sensitivity score is based obviously on your own sensitivity marks that you configure into the application. Now, let's go to German Steuer ID. That's the one we were looking at earlier. I can see that this document is happens to be modified between now and a year ago, which is correct since I created the document recently. So I can go to review here, and here at review, it will now specifically find this one document that I was looking for. Here it is. So let's click on it. And now here I can see that there's a German Steuer ID in this document, but there's also quite a few emails in this document and host names. Yeah. And in addition to this risk that you decide this document has, I can delete the files from the backup, or I can set a different retention or ignore these risks. So those are capabilities that you have. Now let me go to the dashboard, back to the data insights. And now let's have a look at what Exchange Online looks like. Since this is email, I will get to see email-related data like sensitive emails and their subjects. number of top users with sensitive data in them. Apparently that's John Doe. And again, all these different important information assets that you have defined. So there happens to be a Dutch social security number in 3 emails. So I can easily, by clicking on it, decide the data set that I'm looking for. But I can also leave everything open and go to review and use the filtering here. So instead of doing it at the dashboard, I can say, hey, give me all the high sensitive emails, and it's sensitivity by location. So every data source that's set up is in a specific location, or you can decide to set it up in a specific location. And I'm looking for all sensitive emails that have a email or attachment with the Dutch social security number in them. And now this John Doe, and it will give me a list of all documents that have this sensitive information. So here's the AVG document or GDPR document that I've created. It will load a preview. It can do this with emails. So I get to see the preview of the email, and there's quite some sensitive information in here, like a Dutch IBAN number, a social security number, a mobile number. So this is all, and interestingly, the Dutch social security number is also, or the German starter ID is detected as a phone number here. So there's too many associated assets with this. And you can see here that I can now find this sensitive data throughout my data set. So that's the GDPR side of things. In addition to that, you can also have someone from legal or HR set up as a compliancy officer. And compliancy officers have the capability to search throughout all data that is protected in the organization. In my demo environment here, I have set this up for email data. So this will allow me as a compliancy officer to search through all data that's in my email. Yeah. So I get a nice search option here. I can search for KLM like I did before, but the difference here is that my search for KLM in Command Center here will now also allow me to search in the body of the email compared to a normal tenant admin, which can only search in metadata. So as you can see, all the information that I'm searching for is now marked yellow everywhere in the data set. And I can create a advanced search because KLM is quite simple. So let's say I'm not only searching for KLM, but I'm searching for a specific keyword for particular domain users or email addresses, receive time, etc. I can set up quite a complex search query throughout my data set here. Let's say there's a legal case in the organization and sensitive data or associated data with that legal case needs to be found. I can set up an advanced search here. And as soon as I've set it up, I can add this data to a case. And by, let me select a new case. Let's say this is a legal case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm searching for specific documents which are set up in a data classification plan. So I would like to search for Word documents, PDF documents, email, etc. So that's what you set up in the data classification plan. I'm going to associate a server plan because if as a compliancy officer I decide to keep this data for infinite time, this will, based on this plan, the data will be kept for that time period. Well, it's email archiving. I would like to add all items that are based on my search query to this case, and my data collection will be set up as continuous, which really means as much as any new data coming in tomorrow that matches my search query will now also be kept for infinite amount of time. Yeah? My regular company policy could be keep the data 6 months, but the compliance officer or someone at legal decides, hey, this data set that I find here is important and should be kept infinite amount of time. And that's what I can do this by adding a case. And this brings me to the end of what I would like to demo you today. So let's open up the channels for questions.